It shouldn't be a surprise to you. You get on YouTube, whether it's on an anonymous account or just no account, or your own actual personal account, and you go into your feed, and all of a sudden, you just see a bunch of videos talking about, oh, we have this whole situation that's going on in the UK where people are getting hit with this, new bill that's being passed, if you will, enact Child Safety Act. And okay, everything sounds important, all well and good. It makes sense. We should be able to protect children more, right? I think that's fair because the internet's a scary place and it's important that these things are addressed for sure. But then we start to hear other places in the world start implementing their own stance on this, on what they presumably say is helping children by asking for your ID and doxing yourself of all the information that you already are personally already being looked at to be monitored over the internet through Spotify, and now the US getting hit with this for YouTube. What this means for me and the people that are watching my YouTube channel, this small little channel I've had for over 12 years, it's going to affect everybody. I don't like making videos like this because this is not my kind of content to make. I use YouTube to, watch things and enjoy myself and unwind and, get through, the day-to-day shitty day of negativity out in the world. And now I have to find out all over my feed and decide to watch all these videos from all these other channels talking about the nitty gritty, which is not what this channel is going to be about, this video. And seeing how this situation has went from bad to worse, and it continues to get worse and worse and worse. And I don't know how it's going to end. Honestly, this is not going to be good for anybody, whether people agree to it or not. Everyone's going to be affected by this negatively in some shape or form. Because if you really think this is about safety of children, I'm sorry to tell you, man, you didn't use your brain correctly. This is a situation that can spiral out of control by one data breach. That is all it takes. Obviously, this could be the same for other platforms like Spotify and whatnot. But for YouTube specifically, that hasn't had the best track record of the use of their AI, which, by the way, they're using AI to identify whether or not you're 18 years old or not by what content you watch and how old your account is, and maybe even the behavior of how you are responding to others in comment sections. It's very vague. It doesn't pinpoint much, which means it's very easy that this can just be falsified pretty accurately to where this affects like everybody easily. Because whether or not you're watching actual child stuff, and even though there's YouTube Kids, I just don't understand why this exists because of that. But besides that, it's pretty jarring that people are going to be falsified for even consuming stuff like VTuber content. I wonder what the VTuber themselves are going to do, which is something I'm very curious about. Or just certain games that you play, or even look back at cartoons that you would watch on YouTube through clips and whatnot, because they exist in the world. And I don't know what's going to happen. It scares me, but at the same time, I'm using like a very specific browser that kind of helps me deal with this BS from their pop-ups that could, alienate me from being able to watch certain content and whatnot. I don't know how long this will particularly last, but I'm pretty sure people will find a way around this, regardless of how people feel about this, how much they decide to say, well, this is all well and good, but everybody is going to have to deal with this eventually. You're going to have to goodbye. You're going to have to give up that ID. You're going to have to dox yourselves. You're going to show me all that information, that juicy information. That is scary. Very, very, very scary. I don't mind doing a face reveal, but showing you every little thing that I do, I mean, it's definitely a better terminology for mind your own business, but you already know so much about us without even anyone realizing it. So it already makes it pretty creepy already out the get-go. But you're going to take it a step further. This is an overreach. And a lot of channels address this, and I thought I should say something myself. I'm really not a fan of doing this type of thing, though. I've said this already, but I feel like I had to get my voice out there, even though my channel is small. The only reason why this video exists is that there is a chance that this will affect me, and despite how old my channel is and how many different types of content I've either consumed or created through my YouTube channel, they could deem me under 18 despite how old this account is. And you're not seeing an 18-year-old with an account as old as mine, but I can tell you my real age, and it's well over 20. So that is something I don't like. I really hope that, well, rather than saying hope, I do expect this to backfire on them pretty heavily. For both YouTube or any other platform, it's going to backfire on them pretty heavily, doing this change of ID and the identification for things. I like that, people are speaking up about this, and I do think more people should talk about this. No matter who you are, no matter your situation, I'm making this video just because I feel like I should speak out. And I don't want that to deter people that are for this situation, but for the people that actually want this, I genuinely want to ask you, did you not really think about the other side of things? When I argue about something, I like to look at both sides of the argument before I say my piece on it. And while there's information out there already of people that have talked in more detail about the situation leading up to this, which I recommend you go watch, rather than hear me try to go into detail of researching through this and then talking about it for a video. I'm just going to get my surface level thinking out of the way and bring it to y'all. I really don't like the situation. It's something that is going to take away something that even if it was fostered for a little bit, it's something that was still very important to me all the same. And despite me saying all this, I do think there's one thing I want to say that's important for this video itself. When I saw everything in my feed about the channels talking about YouTube gonna be wanting your ID come August 13th, coming up by the way, I also saw another video that hit my YouTube feed, and it's quite impressive that this video is 10 years old, and it explicitly says by 2030 privacy's dead. What happens next?
Let's try and predict the future. You don't really notice change happening. Google was incorporated 16 years ago yesterday, 1998. The easy access to information that it ushered in changed the world. And sure, if it hadn't been Brin and Page, it would have been someone else with a similar algorithm. But can you imagine taking someone from 1996, never mind Victorian times we had earlier, just 1996, and showing them today? A small little magical device in your pocket that can answer 99% of all your questions about the world and 99% of all your requests for media. But that reports your location to the police constantly so they can look you up if you need to. And then you've got any number of instant ways of communicating with people around the world, nearly anyone in the world, all of which is monitored all the time by shadowy government agencies. Would they think we're in a dystopia? Would they think we're in some sort of utopia? Well, it'd be somewhere in the middle. So let's plot a line. Let's plot a line all the way over here. All the way over here is 1998, the founding of Google. Right here in the middle is where we are now, 2014. Let's see what someone from 1998 would think about today, because what I'm going to do is go about 16 years into the future, into 2030, and let's say that we have roughly the same orders of magnitude increase in access to information. Let's propose some slightly fanciful technology that is about as fanciful as Google would have been all the way back over there. Let's do a talk from Deconstruct 2030. And it would start a little bit something like this. Teenagers are becoming telepathic. Privacy is dead. And we're in another tech bubble. Welcome to 2030, or at least one possible 2030.
Very, very scary. Yeah. This was just a clip of that video. I would advise watching the rest of the video yourselves, because it's a pretty good video. But yeah, predicting a future like that, it's impressive, to be honest. But obviously, I've seen a lot of people talk about from this video that there was a lot of groundworks of people that figured that out through the technology of that era, that they were able to predict that type of future. So it wasn't just some simple prediction. They knew that the human greed would get to that point. And it's really terrifying to think about the fact that we're living in a society where we can get completely censored and not have any control about what we want to do. And you heard that word, dystopia, or dystopian, which you've been hearing around the internet. Do you know what that means? It means relating to or denoting an imagined state or society where there is great suffering or injustice. I mean, there is pieces of literature out there in the world that I've heard, also in the UK that I've heard, that depicts at this, yet even though it's in the UK, they really passed a bill that really gives the government too much power, to be honest. I don't like that in the slightest, and the fact that it's coming to the US through other means of media, and even earlier today even, I heard they're even putting it into games as well. It's going to backfire on them pretty heavily. There is workarounds. It's not as something that's so simple that people can just comply to, There's a lot of other means to get what people want, But at the same time, this is not going to be a situation that goes away easily, because the way that they're fighting hard for this. So we gotta push back. We need more people to speak out about this. I'm only gonna speak about this one time, and if it gets any bigger, then of course I'll talk about it more. I'm not a drama channel. That's not what I do. I chill out. People who watch me, we chill out. I game, that's it. I go to relax myself. I'm not trying to fill my head with all this negativity out in the world, but this is something that needs to be talked about, and I already said that, but I just gotta point it out. We need to talk about this more. But the whole point of this video is to let the channel and the people know who watches me that if I get affected by this, that's it. I'm probably going to stop doing YouTube. Hopefully it doesn't get to that point. But if it does, that's why I'm mentioning it. And I advise you to check the description box below and go to my Twitch channel, because I will immediately, the day after this gets past August 13th, I will do a stream on Twitch if I cannot make a video on it. And it is what it is if I can't make a video on YouTube about it. But if I'm still here, I will stream August 13th on my YouTube, and we'll just talk about what's going on and all that. So with that, stay safe out there. I hope you guys take care of yourselves. Do not, and I mean do not, put your IDs out on the internet. Data breaches happen a lot through companies. We cannot trust these companies can actually hold that data and think some hacker ain't gonna get into that shit. We can't prove that. We can't prove that. They have proven that they are not reliable enough to do that. So do not do it. I really hope any shred of humanity you guys have, please protect yourselves. This is a time we need to come together. And in times of desperation, we need democracy. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys later.